and you're sticking with your current attorney for the appeal.
Okay, here's what happened there.
Hello, my name is Cody Jennings, and I'm speaking on behalf of Randall Lord. Being on camera is not necessarily my thing. I much prefer to be behind the lens, and if you explore my YouTube channel, you will observe this. There are no videos really of me addressing the camera. A year ago, I interviewed Randall in front of this courthouse before he was to report to federal prison. He is now and has been for the last year in the Atlanta USP. And just tell the audience a little bit about yourself, what you've been doing for the past 5 to 10 years in conjunction with Bitcoin.
Okay, well, I've only been with Bitcoin since about 2012, 2013, somewhere along in there.
This video is an update video on Randall and where his case is at. The last one, to my surprise, got more than 160,000 views, so I don't expect this one to get that many, but many of y'all want to know what's happening with his case. Randall has a new attorney for the appeal. This attorney has become familiar with federal law and his case in particular, and that appeal will take place in New Orleans. He will not be present for that appeal, and that appeal is on November the 5th. He and his new attorney are both very confident they can win on appeal. However, there's some concern on Randall's part that this appellate court is very conservative in its decision making. There's a strong chance that the appellate court will kick back this case to the federal courthouse here in Shreveport, and it will go to the same judge that viewed the case before.
The judge was very apparent that he was trying to give us the harshest sentence possible. He would add up every single point that he could to make sure we got the maximum prison time, and here we are.
And I have statements from Randall. This is a compressed version. So, you know, there were more than 900 comments on the original video. Many questions, lots of advice, armchair advice. But these are the 4 points where Randall is responding to everyone. Number 1, the court erred when it refused to allow us to withdraw our plea. We showed numerous case laws supporting our position and that I met all the criteria necessary. Number 2, the statute for which I am prosecuted was applied improperly, as it was only to be used in support of state laws covering money transmitters. We even cite a case where the federal court says that in states where there is no violation, the federal law is not to be applied. Number 3, even if the appellate court is unconvinced of the above 2 arguments, the court misused the sentencing guidelines. I was given a 16-point enhancement which resulted in my lengthy sentence. The guidelines clearly state that this enhancement can only be used if there was intent and monetary loss on my part. The court at sentencing already stated that it was clear that there was non-intent, victims, or loss to anyone. With this 16-point enhancement removed, the maximum sentence I could have gotten was 6 months, and I have already served 8 months. And of course, we're past a year now. And this is a statement to the viewers directly. Number 4, it may take the court up to 2 more months before they act. That act could postpone or reset my case. The appellate court is very conservative and could kick back to the same judge here in Shreveport. All this compared to a guilty plea by a similar case for a California woman who received only 1 year in prison. She was moving more Bitcoin, a higher volume of Bitcoin than Randall. And for those who have researched this, and for those who don't know, Randall's case includes $2.6 million worth of Bitcoin. Next is a statement from Randall Lord to the Libertarian Party. Randall Lord, USP Atlanta. Shocking the conscious. June 25th, 2018. Greetings, fellow Libertarian delegates. Unfortunately, I am not able to attend this year's convention as my appeal has not gotten a response from the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals yet. And that, of course, has changed very recently. The basis of my appeal that even though I met all of the criteria for withdrawing my plea, the court abused its discretion in denying me that right. Further, the federal statute I was charged with was only supposed to be used if my state first charged me with this crime when what I was doing didn't require a license. Next, The court applied an enhancement to my sentence, even though the sentencing guidelines clearly exempted me from this enhancement. I had hoped that because the errors the court made were so obvious that I would have been released in time for me to join you at the convention in New Orleans. Instead, he's being in New Orleans vicariously through his new attorney on appeal. I had heard from my attorney that the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals was the most conservative of all of the appellate courts, but never expected them to have total disregard for the rights of people. No matter what they decide in my case, I won't change my behavior. I have the moral duty to fight unjust laws and will serve my time and raise the appropriate objections and expose corrupt government officials until it shocks the conscience of the people and they step up and fight for the preservation of their liberties. For the appeal, I actually have the appeals here. There are 3 different versions. The version that I'm reading now is the brief sufficient, and it says, the Lords registered with FinCEN on or about November the 14th, 2014, nearly 1 year prior to the indictment. At the time of their guilty plea, it was believed, based on government assertions, that the state of Louisiana also required them to obtain a license as money transmitters. However, following the guilty plea, the Lords learned from Louisiana Office of Financial Institutions that the state of Louisiana does not require virtual currency exchangers, such as the Lords, to have a state license. Based on this newly found knowledge, the Lords filed a motion to withdraw their guilty pleas. The Lords argued that the absence of requirement by the state of Louisiana for Bitcoin exchangers to obtain a license shows that they have a good and substantial defense to the charge which they pled guilty based on their incorrect knowledge of the law. The district court erroneously denied their motion on April 10, 2017. On May 24, 2017, after erroneously overruling several objections made by defense counsel as to the guideline calculations, the district court sentenced Randall Lord to 46 months imprisonment as to count 1. The Lords timely filed a notice of appeal and now respectfully request that this court reverse the erroneous rulings of the district court. Randall expects, once the November date arrives, that the appellate court will rule in about a week or 2. However, they could kick it back to the Shreveport location here, and the case could start back from 0. Let's talk about how far off the rails the federal government is.
It's incredibly far off the rails. And anytime you allow a federal government or a government to redefine the terms and the meanings of the words in their contract, then you've allowed that government to have unlimited power, because they can make it say anything they want it to. And that's what's happened here. The laws regarding financial institutions was originally written by Congress, but in this case, a federal agency of the executive department, not the legislative department, has decided what the law means, and they have expanded on the meaning of what a money service business is to include people like me. And they're just expanding their powers more and more until your liberties mean absolutely nothing.
Many of you pointed out that the previous video was saturated with YouTube ads, including and mostly Bitcoin ads, because the bulk of the viewers for that previous video were Bitcoin enthusiasts. And the revenue for that previous video, all those revenues went directly to Randall's wife, who is currently having to work 2 jobs because of the loss of income from her husband. And this video, again, will be saturated with YouTube ads like this one.
It's been probably harder on my family than it has been on me. I have a wife and a daughter that's in high school here, and also I have a son who lives at home with me, who's disabled, and I'm the one that takes care of all of them, plus my parents who are getting, pretty far advanced in their years. I have to go up and check and do things for them all the time, and I don't know what's going to happen to any of them after I'm gone. I'm the one that holds it all together, so it's going to be hard on all of them, and that probably is what bothers me more than anything.
Randall faces an opponent with basically unlimited resources, and if you see fit to, I'm asking for your help. I'm asking for donations on Randall's behalf, and these donations will go directly to his attorney to offset some of those fees that he's facing, to defend himself, to try and get out of federal prison. So please help. Please consider donating. Here are the different ways you can donate.